Repeat. All right, let's repeat after me. I am where I am by the choices I have made or I have allowed others to make for me. I am where I am by the choices I have made or I have allowed others to make for me. So, congratulations for making the choice. There was lots of things that you can do in May. If you've got kids and grandkids, there was probably 12 school programs you're supposed to be at this week. You made time for your business tonight. And so I say congratulations to each and every one of you. I'm going to take you back in time because this is a really special time for me and Mary Kate because I became a consultant in April in 1982. So 44 years ago, I was you. And I made a goal. This is my date book from 1982. I made a goal when I became a consultant that summer I would give this Mary Kay thing a try and I would work at having a facial or a party every single day that summer when I wasn't teaching. That was my goal. And so I have a date book to prove it. I have a date book to prove it. Now, did everything hold? No, that's why there's lines crossed through there. But that was my intention. And at that time, I was teaching high school home economics and I was waiting tables at night for extra money. And so by midsummer, I quickly realized that my Mary Kay business, I would be able to quit waiting tables. And so the other thing that happened this time, 44 years ago, is I used the month of May to get ready for a busy summer. So I set up my office, my home office. I went to my training class. These are my original training notes from my original training class that was held in May of 1982. I set up my original bookkeeping. You know, we have things electronically today, but I still like paper. I still do a lot of things with paper, but this was my original QuickBooks. It's very interesting. I literally wrote down every penny I spent for my Mary Kay business and every penny that came in. 20 some years later, after I started this little notebook, there was a neighbor girl that worked for me for 50 cents, and she would put the labels on my product. Well, 20 years later, she was promoted to one of the local bank executive offices. I want to think she was a vice president. And she invited me to her promotional meeting. I brought this notebook and I had highlighted for their PowerPoint the entries where I had paid Christy 50 cents to put labels on my product. So you never know whose lives you're changing with your Mary Kay business. The other thing I did at this time of the year to prepare myself for my business is I worked on my flip chart. Now, our flip chart was a little bit different than yours, but I worked on my presentation. I'm a praying woman, but I don't expect God to give me the words. He gave me a brain. So I need to use my brain to practice and rehearse. If you're going to be a professional, if this is going to be something that makes money for your family, then you have to treat it like a real job. If you got hired for any corporation in America, there are things you're going to have to memorize, things you're going to have to practice. And I stood in front of a mirror to practice those things. And so that was what I was doing in the summer or in the month of May 44 years ago. I had one regret from that time period, and that was that my director only talked to me about a $600 wholesale beginning inventory. Now, I didn't know any better or any different. And back then, we did not have customer delivery service. We did not have earned discount privileges. And so you had to have a really good stock of inventory. In fact, I regretted the fact that she only talked to me about 600. I really needed 3,600. I had to go to a lot of work, you guys, to get the 600. I went to 4 different banks before I convinced one of them to loan me the money. But the good news is I got my beginning inventory, quickly realized that was not going to be enough, and went back to the same bank to get $2,400 more dollars worth of inventory. And that was my beginning in the business. By the end of the summer, I was able to stop waiting tables. And in 1986, when I was pregnant with my son, which would be 4 years later, I walked out of my teaching position driving a pink Cadillac to school every single day. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about how we have come full circle in society. We have the convenience of the internet. We have earned discount privilege. We have My Shop. We have social media. We have lots of conveniences. But the world has come full circle, and my class tonight is predicting the future. My class is to prepare you for what a Mary Kay consultant will need to do in the era of AI. But before we do, I'm going to share a couple of things with you on the screen tonight. I'm going to actually do quite a bit of screen sharing with you tonight. You have to see my messy. I use my desktop as a file cabinet. I don't know if y'all do that or not. All right. I had hoped Leanne would be able to join me tonight. Leanne is 18 years old. Now, Leanne is what we would call in the traditional generation. This is the generation that's 18 years old right now. And everybody's telling you the same thing about this generation. They want traditional lives. They want to do things the old-fashioned way. They want that peace in their mind. Leanne came into Mary Kay back in late fall for one reason. She is already an entrepreneur. One of the things you're going to learn about 18-year-olds today is they want an entrepreneurial lifestyle. She already was running her own greenhouse while in high school, but she knew she was going to have some off winter months. And so she began her business, I believe, in November. But between January 1st and the end of February, these are her results. She sold $7,481. 6,700 of it was in person around a kitchen table. She facialed 72 people, and 46 of them were first-time customers. Leanne is the future. Leanne is the generation that's coming up. National Sales Director Emeritus Susan Holman just recently taught 2 classes to the national sales directors and the directors around the nation. In her retirement, she is teaching at the college level. And one of her topic is actually working with young people to be entrepreneurs. She emphatically told all of us that were on the call, young women and men today, they want exactly what we have in Mary Kay. They want an entrepreneurial lifestyle. They want to start an entrepreneurial venture. Yeah, we have to change a few of our words. They're a little bit dated. But just like Leanne Ludwig, they want exactly what we have. Now, as I begin to talk to you about AI today and how this all works full circle, just keep those points in mind. Now, one of the questions at our career conference that we held in Cincinnati, Ohio, called Shockwave, we featured Leanne. And we asked Leanne about her friends. How much competition is an 18-year-old in Mary Kay getting from TikTok influencers or any social media influencers? And she said they're overwhelmed by it. They were so thankful that I joined Mary Kay so I could just tell them what to wear and what they needed on their skin. You see, what humans will want more than their next breath in the era of AI is a human being. Just tell me what I need. Tell me where to put it so I don't have to be confused by all this stuff that's coming at me. And she said, I really don't even have to compete because they're so thankful they don't have to even entertain all that stuff because they've got me. And that is the beauty of a Mary Kay business. So let's talk a little bit right now about the era of AI. You know, there is so much change that is happening. Today, everybody uses a different AI tool. There's Chat GTP, there's Claude, there's Copilot, there's Grok. I use Grok. They all do the same thing. In under 30 seconds, I sent a flyer from 1990 to Grok. I said, make it trendy, give it a new look, take out half the words, and in 30 seconds, it produced a beautiful, beautiful handout. And because it was about an event coming up, they said, would you like for me to make that into a video? I said, sure. 30 seconds later, not only did I have a trendy handout, but I had a video. Okay. And it cost me nothing. All right. AI is not the devil. AI in the wrong hands can be evil. This phone in the wrong hands can be evil. This device I'm on in the wrong hands can be evil. But we can use AI for good. And that's just an example of how it can be used for good. But in the era of all this technology, we have to understand human beings. I'm pretty sure that my experience last week is an experience that you've recently had. I just needed someone at a company to answer the phone. I think it was about my electric bill or something along those lines. And they kept sending me to a website, and then it sent me to a menu, and then it sent me to a chat box. And after about 15 or 20 minutes, I found myself in front of my computer, like I am with you tonight, screaming, let me talk to a human. I probably maybe used a naughty word right there. Okay. I just wanted a human. And so we're just at the edge of AI. What do you think it's going to be like in 5 years? None of the platforms you're using will even exist. Elon's already telling you apps will not even exist. You'll basically think things and they will happen. There will be so much change in the next 5 years that it will be mind blowing. It will make our lives easier. But just like that incident where I'm not going to do business with a company that sends me to a link and never lets me talk to a real human. We had a very interesting thing happen to us in Mary Kay during COVID. We had extraordinary sales. In fact, one year, I believe we had 30 some $1 million directors, which was a record. But that was an outlier. It will not happen again. There was a bunch of free money being given away, and people had nowhere else to go but their computer to click a link to buy product. Those were a lot of one-night stands. You don't want to be a one-night stand. You want to be the girl that meets someone, and I don't care where you meet her. You can meet her at a vendor fair. You can meet her at your church or at the school or your PTA meeting or on TikTok or on Facebook. I could care less where you meet her. What I care about is you know what to do with her after you've met her. Because what humans will want in the era of AI more than their next breath is to be seen, to be valued, and to be heard. Now, I want you to write those words down. More than their next breath, humans in the era that we are entering want to be seen, valued, and heard. I find it very curious. I'm a statistics person. There are enormous national areas inside the world of Mary Kay that are still standing. My national area is one of them. Thousands upon thousands of consultants and directors are still doing business. Why are they still doing business when some people were one-night stands? Why are they doing business when others have gone on to other things? The answer was very simple. They were seen, they were valued, and they were heard. We had a deep and meaningful relationship. Now, granted, we had to do it that way. We had to go to their house. We had to sit at their kitchen table. We didn't have the internet. We had to meet them in person, but the payoff was decades of loyalty. Decades of loyalty. I have a unit that performs at $1 million level, and I left it 7 years ago. And over half of that unit has been around for over 25 years. I've been in their homes. I've met their children. I know their dog's name. People stay where they are valued. So, in the era of AI, more than anything else, what humans will want is human interaction. So let's take a look at a couple of charts that I have designed. These were sent out. I hope they were sent to you. If not, your director should have received them in a Facebook group, I believe. But I want to go through them with you tonight, and then you will have them to use. So this is a model that I designed about building deeper relationships in the age of AI. I believe if you're going to develop a Mary Kay business, you need to develop a Mary Kay business that lasts. Don't you want to be developing customers and team members that are with you for 30 or 40 years? I think so. So there is nothing on this chart that is bad. So I want to make that very clear to everyone tonight. There is nothing on this chart that's bad. But there are things that make a relationship last a lot longer. So let's just look at it like me and you tonight. At the tippy top, at the very best, is the greatest chance for a relationship to last is if I were meeting with you in your home. So let's think about that for just a second, guys. What if instead of me on this screen in front of 400 people, it was just you and I? And we're at your kitchen table. I just saw your kids come in. I saw your grandkids come in. I see the pictures of your kids and your family. Maybe your mama lives next door. We have a conversation about your neighbor. I see your life. The chances of you and I, me and you together, having a relationship that lasts for decades is the highest if I meet with you one-on-one in your home. Okay? In my home is good. You could be here sitting at my little farm. I have 2 miniature ponies out here. We've just cleared my woods out and I had my chainsaw out 3 hours ago, but I cleaned up pretty good, didn't I? Okay. So you might just want to come to my house and sit out with me and we'll go out back in the woods and you can help me burn limbs that I'm cutting off of trees. Okay. Or you can help me feed the ponies. All right. The chances of you and I keeping a relationship, a business and personal relationship, is so much greater in person. Now, the second best thing on this chart is if you and I met in a separate location. What if instead of my home or your home, we met down at a coffee shop or a restaurant? It'd be good. It's just you and I. We'd have great conversation, but see, we're missing the home. We're missing the family. We're missing all of that will be gained when you're in another human being's home. There is no greater compliment ever paid to you higher than when someone invites you into their home. It is their most personal, private part of their life, and it's only shared with the people they love. Again, being invited to someone's home is the greatest compliment. Now, number 3 is what if we were face to face in a group? Okay, we're going to all be going to seminar. We're getting registered. I got registered today for seminar. So we're going to be face to face, but we're going to be in a big group. So it's going to be different. It's going to be good, but it's going to be different. The fifth one, I'm so sorry. I apologize. That was number 4. Number 3 is to face in a group in your home. So what if it was you and I together and maybe just a few of your team members or your unit members? Would that be good? Yeah, it'd be great. But I couldn't give you all my personal attention if you're sharing me with your friends. But we're still intimate. We're still going to have a deeper relationship because I'm in your home or you're in my home, but you're sharing me with a group. Number 4 is our seminar experience, our career conference, or our fall retreat. Number 5 is a live video. So the next best thing is what if it was just you and I talking about this topic, but You weren't sharing me with 300 and some people. I could listen to you. You could listen to me. Good chance for a good relationship there. Again, nothing is bad on this chart. There's just things that are better. And then number 6 is where we are right now. It's a live video and we're in a big group. So that's number 6 on this hierarchy. Number 7 is going to be some of you who are watching this recording. This is being recorded. So you didn't get to participate with the group. You didn't get to see the chat. You didn't get to see the energy of the chat. You didn't hear the beginning music. You didn't see the interaction. It's good. A recording is good. It's very helpful. But when we're talking about building deep and meaningful relationships, it's number 7. And then what if it was not a video? What if it was me just leaving you a message? Okay, I recorded a Voxer or a voice message on your phone. Again, I want to stress to all of you, there is nothing on this chart that's bad, but because we have the convenience of 5, 6, 7, and 8, we tend to stay down here more out of convenience, but we really need to start evaluating our schedule. If you're trying to build something that lasts a lifetime, you need to ask yourself, what time this week did I actually invest in another woman? Either with a facial, a party, a conversation, something personal and private in order for me to build a deep and meaningful relationship. Now, I've also built a chart for the written word. All right. Now, when we talk about the written word, obviously the best is a handwritten note. In fact, I went up to my closet to dig out my things I was going to show you for the presentation, and I found a handwritten note that somebody left me. And if you look way over in the corner of my living room, I have a huge wicker basket that I have kept thousands of handwritten notes. People don't throw away handwritten notes. They keep them. They're valuable. In fact, I just read a fiction book. Some of you might have seen it on the bestseller list called The Correspondent. The whole book is about this woman who writes letters. Anyway, the bottom line is people don't throw away a letter. So ask yourself in your business, how many handwritten notes did you write this week? Because that is more valuable. I'll keep it on my refrigerator, or I'll tape it on my refrigerator. All right. The second best is a personal text, a personal email, or a personal direct message. All right. So again, we have the convenience of all this. Thank God we do. It's a wonderful tool. Again, nothing on here is bad, but it's different than a handwritten note. So I'll tell you a little story about a personal text. I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago. Do y'all know Pampered Chef? Like the company Pampered Chef that sells, it's like a direct sales company. Well, I had not bought Pampered Chef in years. And I was like, I had a relatively new house at the time. My daughter-in-law had a new house. My daughter had moved out. And I thought I would love for Christmas to buy my daughter and my daughter-in-law some Pampered Chef, but I didn't know anybody who sold it. Well, by happenstance, that next day or two, I got a direct message on Facebook from someone I know. It was copy paste. I knew it was copy paste. People can tell things are copy paste. But hey, it was an invitation to a Pampered Chef party, and there was a link for me to order. And I was like, yeah, hey, I can order some Pampered Chef. Well, not 24 hours later, a different friend sent me a personal invitation to her Pampered Chef party. It was very different. It was not copy paste. It started out with my name and it was personal. Linda, I don't know if you have any interest in Pampered Chef, but I'm having a party because my friend has started selling it. Then she tells me about her friend and why her friend is selling Pampered Chef. And she goes, I don't know if you need anything, but if you do, it would mean the world to the Pampered Chef girl. Now you tell me what I did. I bought from both people because I knew both people. The first girl was a copy paste. I spent $40. The second girl, I spent $450 because it was Christmas. It makes a difference, guys, how we communicate if we want to get results that are deep and meaningful and last. All right. Number 3 is a tool we use constantly. It's group mass text, mass emails. Thank God for it. Thank God for Voxer and Project Broadcast and Scipio and all of these tools that we use. But if that's all people are seeing from you, they will leave you. I want to repeat that. If all a person knows about you is through group communication and they never meet with you, they never hear your heart, you never know anything about them, they will leave you because their heart is not tied to your heart. They're just tied to the product. Now, I sent all of this through AI before I had it designed, and I said, hey, have I left anything out on these charts? And I think you would find it curious that AI added number 4 and 5. It came back and said, well, when you comment on people's social media post or their blog site, that's communication, that's written. It's number 4. And if you use AI to assist you in a response, because right now, if you go to Facebook, AI comes up and says, do you want to use any of these emojis? It'll even give you text to say. That is an AI generated assisted text. I thought it was curious that AI knew it was at the bottom of the list. It was the worst choice if we are going to build a deep and meaningful relationship. Okay. So when we think about all of this, all right, let's start tying it all together for the end of our year. We know that the youngest generation wants a traditional lifestyle. We know that younger people want exactly what we have. Younger people crave human interaction. All humans crave human interaction. And as AI takes over more and more of our life, we will crave it even more. So let's marry what I just talked about to a little bit of strategy. All right. Some of you have seen this and some of you haven't, but I think it's noteworthy because if, 44 years ago, I didn't use strategy. I was just excited. But now I would use a little bit more savvy, be a little bit more strategic in who I approached about the business. So let's take a look at a couple of articles that I pulled up for you tonight. First of all, I only subscribe to the Wall Street Journal because it's the most central political thing you'll find. They don't use too many crazy headlines, except this one's kind of crazy. It says, we're not dead yet. Baby boomers, good times drive the economy. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because if you're going to run a business, you better know who you better be selling to. Who's got the money? All right, that's just common sense. So I want to bring your attention to this little thing right here. This is powerful. Today, Americans 55 and over control nearly 70% of U.S. household wealth, according to the Federal Reserve. In 1989, the first year of available data, they controlled just 50%. Okay, so you don't have to be an economist to understand that who you need to be selling to is grandma. Grandma's got all the money. All right. Now, here's the other thing that you need to be aware of. Again, Wall Street Journal. This was October last year. Whoops. Sorry. Okay. I need to quit touching my computer. The new age of entrepreneurship. You guys, look at this. The new age of entrepreneurship is 70 to 79. Okay. The entrepreneurial urge doesn't necessarily diminish with age. As people live and work longer, more are choosing to start a business in their 70s. Now, look at the benefit of you guys recruiting people in their 70s. They may have lost some of their stamina, but age has its benefits. People in their eighth decade can leverage, look at this word leverage, years of contacts. They're not going to say, who will I sell product to? They have a Rolodex, baby, and they have a phone full of contacts, and they have experience. Okay, you guys. Okay, so when we think from a strategic standpoint, we've got what 18-year-olds want. Okay, we've got what 18-year-olds want. We've got the 70-year-olds starting business. Let me tell you, if I was running a unit today, for those of you in this audience that are over 45, 50, 55, over that age, the world is full of former Mary Kay consultants. It's full of them, hundreds and thousands. And I would say 99% of them didn't leave Mary Kay because they didn't like Mary Kay. It was just the wrong season of their life. In my daughter inherited my unit. 3 of her top 10 are former Mary Kay consultants from the 90s. Easiest people on the planet to train. They love Mary Kay. They all start with star orders because that's what you do. They can't wait for seminar. You don't have to tell them to register for nothing because they already love everything about Mary Kay. So my strategy would be, who's got all the money? Grandma. Who would make an incredible Mary Kay consultant? Former Mary Kay consultants who already know the drill, and they're probably in their 50s, 60s, 70s, or even 80s. Okay. And they've got all the money. And from them, you meet their daughters. John C. Maxwell, Law of Influence. You meet their daughters. And guess who their daughters introduce you to? Their granddaughters. You don't need to be out here worrying about how to meet an 18-year-old. If you meet the grandma, you'll meet the 18-year-old. Because grandma, if she likes you and she trusts you, then she will introduce you to her family. I found it curious tonight. I didn't take the time to count how many of those first facials and parties in the summer of 1982 did I actually know them before I became a consultant. I would say less than 5 of them. I'm the girl in the company that still has her original business cards because I decided early on if I was going to have to pass out business cards to strangers, then this was not going to be for me because that sounds absolutely painful. What I knew how to do was sit with a woman, listen, teach. Remember, I practiced. I practiced. I practiced my opening. I practiced my closing. I learned how to listen. I learned how to connect with their heart. I learned how to talk less than I ask questions. I wanted them to talk because humans want to be seen and valued and heard. That does not mean you talking. And when those ingredients are in place, the bookings come from the bookings. Who wouldn't want someone who listens to them and cares about them and shows them how to get their product for free? Like, you guys, this does not require a college degree to understand this, okay? This is common sense. So we are in the perfect storm of good right now. I am so jealous of all of you. I would give anything to have your customer base right now. I don't care how tiny it is, because I could build it into $1 million unit in the next few years because I've got the power of AI. I've got the power of the internet. I've got the power of all the social media, but I know how to build deep and meaningful relationships that keep people with me forever. And you do too. You all know how to develop deep and meaningful relationships. You've got to spend more time at the top in person. Now, I want to go back to Lee Ann, the young girl, the 18-year-old. I told you all that sales was in person. Does she use my shop? She's got it set up. Yeah. Is she on social media? A little bit. She's kind of too busy to be on social media, to be quite frank. She uses all the tools. The tools are not the problem. The tools are just the tools. So I want you to think about a tool belt. You know, when you're a carpenter or a painter, you have a tool belt. All these things are just tools, but you got to know what you're building. What you're building is a business that lasts a lifetime. One other slide I didn't show you real quick. It just kind of went through my mind. I'll do this real quick and then we'll wrap up with the end of the year. The other thing that's making a huge comeback right now is in-person studios. And guys, when I was new, I had the corner of a bedroom, and that's what we all do. This is little Leanne, the girl I showed you. It's the little corner of her bedroom that she keeps her product. But I think sometimes we fail to show a new consultant where she's going, what she's building. We all started in the corner of our bedroom, but we're all striving to have something professional, something that will welcome people, something that will show, hey, I'm serious about this Mary Kay thing. I am your Mary Kay consultant. And, you know, over time, building a beautiful studio, perhaps in your office or somewhere else. But guys, the era of this is all making a huge comeback because why? In the era of AI, people want in-person contact. That's what they're going to want. All right, let's talk about two things here real quick. So let's use some strategy. We got two things looking at, well, three things that you're looking at right now. Now, some of you are new and you don't even know what I'm talking about because I didn't know what anybody was talking about in 1982, but I just did what they told me. Okay, so you've got Friday, you've got a price increase. Okay. Now, I already told you the biggest mistake I made when I was new is I didn't have enough product. Okay. It is not very motivating for a customer to see that you've got like a little handful of product thrown out on a table and it's not very professionally arranged and that you have nothing to sell her. There's nothing motivating about that. It looks kind of cheap. All right. So I would strongly encourage anybody who's new to have at least a star level inventory just to make some pretty displays and to look like you're professional, to look like you have something to offer. Yes, you can sell to people in all 50 states, but it's kind of dumb when you haven't sold to the people down your street. I always marvel at people about that strategy. It's like, are you selling to the girls at church? Are you selling to the girls at work? Why are you selling to somebody across the nation that you have to ship stuff to when you can just walk across the street and deliver it, for God's sakes? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's just me talking out loud to you. All right, so you've got a price increase, and you have to do what I just did today. I figured out how many oil-free eye makeup removers I'm going to need for the next 2 years, how many time-wise repair kits I'm going to go through for the next 2 years. This is my personal order. My personal order. Because if you're a businesswoman and you can buy it at one price and sell it for a higher price, anybody down your street that owns a business would think this is a no-brainer. You go get some money and get yourself some product. All right. Now, I know some of you who've been around for a hot minute are like, well, in June, the company usually offers us a discount on sets. They've already told you they're not going to do that. Your discount is right now. Okay. So you've got 2 days to figure this out to get yourself some product. All right. So I'm going to cover with you the 8 ways to find money tonight. Now, I built my business in Appalachia. I come from southeastern Kentucky. I know what it's like not to have a pot to pee in. Do y'all know that old saying, you don't have a pot to pee in? I hope that translates to Spanish. It means you ain't got no money. Okay? Now, there's nothing worse in the world than not having no money, but you have to decide, do I want to have money or do I not want to have some money? And then you have to get very clever about where to find money to fund your business. Okay? Now, I always marvel at people who say, well, you know, I can't find money. Well, the number one skill that you're going to need to own a business is problem solving. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, that's what 18-year-olds want to be. you are an entrepreneur because you're in Mary Kay. Your number one skill is problem solving. Well, your problem is you ain't got no money. So you got to figure out where to get money. So I'm going to give you 8 places to find money. All right. And this is an order of best to worst. Okay, so here we go. Number one, if you're taking notes, you're going to use your own money. Now, here's what that means. You have a tax return check, that's your own money. You have a savings account, that's your own money. You have a checking account, that's your own money. You have a home equity, you have equity in your home, that's your own money. Number one is you're using your own money to borrow against. You may have a CD at the bank that you can borrow against. You may have a whole life insurance policy that you can borrow against. You may have investments. I have investments at Merrill Lynch. I can borrow against my own investments. All right. Number two is the company has a 0% credit card. Now, I believe the score is you have to have a score of 680. That's okay. If you don't have a score of 680, I've got ways for you too. But if you've got a good score of 680 or more, then that would be a good option for you. Nothing motivates a person faster than debt. If I have a 0% card and it has to be paid off this time next year, you better believe I'm selling Mary Kay this week. All right. Sometimes you just need a little fire. Number three is a credit union where you or your husband works. So a lot of companies have credit unions. The teachers have a credit union. The firefighters have a credit union. People have credit unions and they lend to you because you work there. So that's a really good option for you to get some money. Number four is a bank loan. Now, a lot of people don't remember bank loans, but bank loans are a real thing. Like, where you get a coupon book and you make your little payments. Now, if you're getting a bank loan, they're going to probably, if it's going to be over $2,000, they're going to ask for something called collateral. Now, collateral means you're going to give them something you own in case you leave town that they're going to own. So I'll tell you a funny story. This is a true story. One of my very first recruits, who is still in Mary Kay, 44 years later, her name is Jan. Jan was a star every quarter. And, it was kind of this time of the year and the company had a big sale on product and she was selling to beat the band. She said, I don't have enough inventory. I'm constantly running out of product. It's so frustrating to always be running out of product or never have what people want. And she said, I need to go back to the bank and get more money. I said, okay. She said, but the bank wanted collateral. She said, my husband's motorcycle is paid off. And I said, okay. And she said, so I'm going to use the title for my husband's motorcycle to get my Mary Kay loan, but I'm not going to tell him. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's a really good idea. And she goes, oh, he won't care. He'll never sell that motorcycle. He will never know. I'll have that loan paid off in 6 months and he will not even know it. I said, okay. It's your marriage. You do what you need to do. Because she said he'll never sell it, so he doesn't need the title. Okay. Not 6 weeks later, I get a frantic phone call from Jan. You will never believe it. I can't remember his name. What was his name? Jan? Okay. We'll call him Dale. Dale is selling his motorcycle, and he can't find the title. I was like, oh my God. What have you done? You have never seen someone sell $2,000 faster in your entire Mary Kay life because she kept telling him she was looking for it. It took her about a week to look for it and find it because that's how long it took her to sell the $2,000 to pay for the loan. A lot of people just need a loan. Seriously, people. Seriously. You have no fire to get anything done. So, if you've got plenty of Mary Kay product, then go buy something and have to pay for it. Okay. That was number 4. Number 5 is a credit card that has interest on it. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. That's why it's number 5. And for heaven's sakes, do not put your Mary Kay with your family money. You know that's against the rules because then you have a mess. MESS. You have a mess. You don't know what part is Mary Kay, what part is your refrigerator, and what part is your family vacation. Do not do that. Okay. All right. Now, number 2, 3, 4, and 5 require a credit score of about 680. So, what if that ain't you? What if you know you do not have a credit score of 680? So, I come from poverty. Everybody I know does not have a credit score of 680, but we know how to find money. Women know how to find money. Women know how to find their kids' ball uniform. Women know how to find their kids' school books. Women know how to problem solve. Do not let any woman tell you she does not know how to find money. She just lied to you. Okay, so if you need money, then you've got to sell something you already own. So we're going to go through your house and your garage and your barn. Are you ready? All right. First of all, we're going to look for things you don't use that are worth money. And the good news is you've got Facebook Marketplace, you got eBay, you got all kinds of tools now to help you sell stuff. Okay, so here's what we're looking for. A piano that nobody plays. That's a big ticket item. Musical equipment nobody plays. Rooms of furniture no one ever sits in. Power tools nobody uses. Jet skis that people might use once a year. Snowmobiles that people might use once a year. Four-wheelers that might need to be using. Junk cars. Do you know junk is worth a lot of money, you guys? Honey, in Appalachia, people have junk cars. I don't know where y'all live, but we have junk cars. And metal is worth a lot of money. Farm equipment that nobody's using. All right? Farm animals. One of my last star consultants before I retired sold one of her cows to get her star order. Okay? Find money. Okay? All right, so number 6 is you go to your garage, you go to your house, and you go to your barn to find something to sell. Get some spine, get some backbone, and act like you're an entrepreneur, okay? Now, if you don't have nothing to sell, go to your mama's house. Now, a lot of your parents will let you have stuff if you'll just clean up the mess, all right? So if you're willing to clean up the mess, they probably will give it to you to sell. So that's another place. And then if your parents don't have anything that you can sell, then go to your grandparents' house because I am more than confident their house is full of stuff. All right. Number 7, gold and silver. I looked up before we got on here tonight the price of gold. What is the price of gold per ounce? $4,695 for 1 ounce of gold. Have you been married before? Do you have a ring? Were you engaged sometime in your life and that didn't work out? Do you have one of those class rings? Did somebody ever give you a piece of jewelry that's just hanging out in a jewelry box? $4,695 an ounce. You can't feel an ounce on your finger. Okay? You have money. Go find it. Okay? And if you don't, number 7 on my 8 ways to find money. Number 8 is back to gold. Let's go back to gold. I'm not talking about going to a pawn shop. I'm talking about going to a reputable gold dealer in your town that's approved by the Better Business Bureau. Okay? I've done it before. There's people who specialize in this, not a pawn shop. Okay, number 8 is borrow money from a family member or a friend. Okay, develop a business plan. Act like an entrepreneur. If you were starting a business down the road, you'd have to have a business plan. Mark it out. Where are you going to get your customers? How much you're going to sell in the next few weeks? Show them that you're serious. You guys, this price increase is important to you. And last but not least tonight, you've got the price increase, you've got the end of the seminar year, but the big thing that I am in love with, I want to kiss somebody on the mouth at the company who came up with Points to Paradise. In my personal opinion, Points to Paradise is the best thing this company has done in years. So let's take a look at it. If you don't understand it, you will now. Okay? If you're willing to work, the company's willing to give you some major prizes. I mean, major prizes. I am all about people who work getting big stuff. And guys, every dollar is a point, and every order from a team member counts for you. And some of you listening to me right now have old teams, meaning they've been with you for a long time. And maybe they're not setting the world on fire, but they're ordering product. You've got to come up with at least 10,000 yourself. Okay? Come on, you guys. Come on. I want to like scream at you right now. 10,000 points over 6 months retail is an 850 basically wholesale a month. I want to look at you when I say this to you because now you know me and you know I love you and I can smack you. 850 wholesale? You think that's a big number? In 1982, our skincare set was $49 and we all did $600 orders like every other week. Right now, I track a whole lot of consultants and directors' numbers. Parties are $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. And if yours aren't there yet, they will be if you're practicing your presentation, if you're practicing your closing. I've never seen our product sell like it is right now. People are crazy about our product. It sells like insanity. And so 10,000 from yourself is only 850 a month, and then you get all those orders from your existing team that you already have, and then they're going to give you all those bonuses from your new recruits. Now you're like, well, Linda, what would I do with a pair of Gucci glasses or a Ferragamo bag? That bag is like $2,000. Have y'all like priced that stuff? Those Gucci glasses are like 500. Sell it. If you don't want to wear Gucci glasses, put it on Facebook Market, put it on eBay. Like do something with it. Make some money. You guys, this is the best contest to ever come up with. So I'm going to give you one more tip about that contest. If you are the consultant out there that has a team, and maybe the team is not setting the world on fire right now, maybe they're kind of not really engaged, why don't you just kind of pretend like you're in charge of them? Why don't you kind of make your own little contest and say, every time you do a 225, then I'll give you a gift. Like, spread the wealth around. Okay? Like, kind of take charge, and motivate them and excite them and give them a gift. I bet some of them would probably love to get a free Time-Wise foundation. By the way, those foundations are wonderful. I can wear medium 2, 3, 4, and 5. I can wear all those colors. They're wonderful. And they feel like magic. They're like magic on your skin. No wonder we got rid of cream to powder because this stuff is like cream to powder. It's wonderful. Anyway, all right. I know I have covered a lot of different stuff with you guys tonight, and I'm sure there was supposed to be some questions, but I want to tell you a story and then I'm done. I grew up without very much. Okay. All right. I grew up in poverty. We had a farm. We even had a big farm, but that didn't mean we had any money. I made all my own clothes. Um, I was not the popular kid in school. I didn't have the name brand anything, but what I had was fire and grit and a will to win. And when I discovered Mary Kay, there was a lot of reasons I did it. Remember, I was teaching school, I was waiting tables, but what I was doing was I didn't want to be poor. People who are poor do not have choices. If you are poor, you have horrible health care. Your kids go to horrible schools. And I didn't care what was going to happen. If I had to pick up pop cans on the side of the road and pick up cardboard, I would do it because I'm not going to be poor. And I don't think you are either. I think you've got enough fire and grit in you that you'll figure out how to do this business. And so I worked it. People ask me all the time, Linda, I know lots of people who do Mary Kay that weren't as successful as you. What's your secret? I treated it like a real job, like a real job. I went to work every day. I had a list. I worked it every day as if I was working for a stranger. Okay? Quit giving your best 8 hours of your life to strangers. Quit giving the best 8 hours of your life to building somebody else's business. Build your own business. Get some fire and get some grit. But when I was probably in my 40s, I guess I was about in my 40s, I figured out my mommy and daddy were not going to have very much. They were farmers and they were just going to have Social Security. My parents are still alive. My daddy is 94 and my mommy is 92. They live just an hour south of me and they still take care of themselves. Thank God. They're frail. They're frail. But they live on $1,600 a month combined. When I got ready to retire as a national, I bought their home to make sure that, that was all taken care of. They would never have to worry about that. But about 10 years prior to me retiring, I noticed one day all the pill bottles in the window. Now, they are of the generation that if the doctor tells you you need it, you get it. I'm not of that generation. Like I'm not going to take a pill just because you tell me. I'll research it to death, okay? But they were going to do exactly what the doctor said. But the conversation I overheard was they could not afford it. I marched myself down without their knowledge to the local pharmacy. I gave them my card and said for the rest of their life, never, ever send them another bill. So I don't know why you work Mary Kay, but I know this much. There ain't nobody on here that's too cashed up. And so let's get serious about running a business. It's May and June. You need some product. And you don't go running up a credit card just to win a prize. Don't be that foolish. You're getting products so that you are motivated to sell it every day. You want to know how you're going to afford that seminar registration? The same way we afforded it in 1982. We figured out how many skincare sets we had to sell in 1982 to afford to go to seminar. Have you done that math yet? If you haven't, then get on it. Figure out how many skincare sets you have to sell to go to seminar. And then you will feel great about seminar because you earned it. And as a result, you have all kinds of new skincare customers. Thank you for allowing me. God gave you 168 hours this week. You just gave me an hour of it. You'll never get it back. I hope the trade was worth it. Thank you all.
Oh my goodness. Linda, thank you so much for everything that you've done for us tonight. Um, we would love your address so we can send you some little notes of our own. So if you can send it to me, if y'all want it, just let me know.
Okay, I'll send it.
Um, so we've got some winners tonight. Thank you guys so much for being on. I know it really, really fills your director's heart. So let me put in the chat. Do, do, do. Here we go. Okay, our winners for tonight, and this is either going to be a Kate Spade item or a Michael Kors item. We're not sure. It's a mystery. But here we go. Our winners are Norma Mendoza, Christina Castro, Thelma Crawford, Akila Franks, and Kaylee Nelson. So Tammy, Shanna, Alice, Teresa, and Cindy, make sure that you email Janice and your consultant's address and she will patch that out to you. Thank you so much, everybody, for being on again tonight. I hope you had an amazing night. Have a great, let's say, not Grueling Month then, but the 15th. Knock it out of the park. Get that stuff on your shelf while it's still at a discount to you. Finish your year strong, and we will see you all at seminar. Thanks, y'all. Good night.